Yo, what up, what up, what up? My name is Frank Salas. I go by the name The Talented Mr. Salas, and I just dropped the mic on the HackCess Show. Hey, if you're looking to grow yourself spiritually, professionally, fitness, anything, you got to check me out on the HackCess Show with my boys. We're going to give you a lot of value. Subscribe and watch now. Imagine like living your dreams or pursuing your dreams and then having everybody in your life saying, yo, you can't do this. In March of 2009, I made $50,000 in 1 month. And I was like, holy shit. Then I was like, this is a fluke. And then it happened again.
Hi, and welcome to the HackCess Show. It's the place where you can find life hacks on how to become the best version of yourself and achieve your goals. We show you how to walk the talk from successful people. And today we have Frank here with us. Thanks so much for joining us, man.
Yo, what up? It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. So do you want to give us a quick overview of what you do just for the viewers?
Yeah, what's up, guys? My name is Frank Salas. I go by the name The Talented Mr. Salas here on social media. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 15 years of my life. I started my entrepreneurship career when I was 20 years old. I got into the beauty business, franchised my first business by the age of 23. I then got into real estate, and that brought me into wealth. And like, I saw how people who had real money operated, and I was like, whoa, I need to get into this world. After a few years of working and serving that crowd, I was able to go off as an independent consultant and travel the world since 2016. And I've been traveling out of a carry-on suitcase since January 1st, 2016. And I won't go back. I love it. I've traveled the world. I live in Latin America most of the year, as well as Europe, some North America, mostly in Mexico. And I mean, I love Eastern Europe. I love being out and about. I love the travel life. It's for me. I move hotels every day right now by choice, because it's, I don't got to clean anything. I don't got to, it's just awesome, man. It's just a cool lifestyle. I'm very blessed. I'm 33 years old, and having 15 years in the entrepreneurship game is just is a blessing. I've never really had a job, like a career. Any job that I had to give it to myself, and I do whatever I want. Right now, I currently am following one of my passion projects, which is a video game company. I've always wanted to have a video game company. My very first business venture was when I was 13 years old. I made my own video game online, and then I got into like sports and girls and college and then making money. And I was okay, but that always sat in the back of my mind. And now after several years of, being an entrepreneur, I now have a lot of infrastructure and systems and process and people around me that give me that creative freedom and flexibility, but backs me up with execution and implementation. So my main business is an outsourcing firm. It's called Salas Staffing, and we find people from all over the world, in Latin America, Eastern Europe, the Caribbean, Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. We steal them from Fortune 5,000 companies like Uber, Apple, AT&T. I just told a customer service agent from Spotify last week, and we put those into small and medium-sized businesses, and we give small and medium-sized businesses and entrepreneurs the opportunity to compete with Fortune 5,000 and Fortune 500 companies by literally stealing their talent and implementing those same frameworks into their business and keeping those standards high. So that's a little bit about me personally. I love travel. I love American football. The Dallas Cowboys are my favorite. I love to work out. I love going healthy. I was on a vegan kick for the quarantine, but my ass went away, man. Going vegan made my ass go away. So I started getting back on the animal proteins, and my ass is coming back.
Just gotta do the squats, bro.
Gotta get them in, bro.
All right, so like business wise, when you have a new business idea or like something you want to pursue, is that just like an idea you have or an opportunity you see, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, so I've been very blessed to be a lifelong career serial entrepreneur. And like when I walk into any establishment, I think of it from the branding, the marketing, the operations, the finance. Like I just bought a coffee. I'm like, okay, this coffee cost them like 27 cents. I paid whatever I paid for it, and they're making this profit, and that goes to this person, that goes to branding. I think about that literally in a split second. So I'm very blessed to be very versed forwards and backwards in the business. So I just see things differently. But to answer your question, when I get an idea, when I'm like, hey, that might be something worthwhile, first thing I do is I have business journals. For every business that I have a separate business journal. I'm old school, 33, so I like to write down stuff, and from there I can refine the idea And from the book, I'll then put it on a sticky note.
Mhm.
And then from that sticky note, I'll stick it up on the wall wherever I'm at, or if I'm traveling a lot, I'll put it on my freaking laptop because I see it every day. And then from there, I have to get whatever's on that sticky note to my team. I have several executive assistants for each one of my businesses. And for myself, I have a personal assistant. So I have an executive assistant in each one of my practices. Frank Salas, the person, the human being, has his own personal assistant for like travel, for, you know, finding me hotels, you know, little things like that, ordering groceries, booking massages. I love to do the sound baths. I'm really big into wellness, having a yoga instructor come in, do some yogas, get some stretching in. So I will then take that sticky note and I will break it down into actionable items. And the framework that I use is OKR. OKR, that stands for objectives and key results. I find the one objective and then I identify 3 to 7 key results that are going to complete that objective. And my goal in life is to be like, okay, how can I complete my objectives without me actually doing the work? And so I might have to chip in, you know, a little bit here and there, but for the most part, my team is pretty good, or my direction is pretty good to where we can get it to a certain point. And it's a very, very powerful framework that has served me for years. And I'm now actually writing a book on this called The 400-Hour Work Week. And it literally breaks down what I just shared with you over hundreds of pages, step by step. Here's what goes into the idea. Here's what goes into the notebook. Here's what goes in the sticky note. Here's what the command and direction is to the staff. Here's the follow-up on that. Here's the implementation. Here's the reiteration. And here's the launch of that. And I break that down into my book, The 400-Hour Work Week.
I love the idea of pen to paper, keeping it old school like that. And do you think that, you know, even with today's kind of technology-based business resources, that there is still a lot of knowledge to be gained from old school techniques and things like that? Mentors like Jordan Belfort, people from the 80s, 90s, these giant sharks. Do you think that there's still wisdom in that kind of old school way of doing business?
100%. I don't think the wisdom changes at all. I think the wisdom is actually the same. I think the true wisdom holds true as society and technology progresses. What does change, business is all about relationships. Business is old school. It's handshakes, belly to belly, building relationships. Companies are just made of other people. Now, what the new school is the technology. Like, you guys are in France. I'm in Colombia right now. That's a new school way of connecting, where we're jiving, we're chopping it up. We're not in person belly to belly, but we're virtually belly to belly. We kind of feel like we know each other. So it's kind of getting that process started. And so for me, I am from the 80s. And one of the things that I was very blessed to be a part of was the technology shift. I was literally the last generation to like be outside, but also play video games, you know? So I have the best of both worlds. I know how to use the tech, but I also know how to chop it up. I also know how to bro it up and jive it up and, you know, shake hands and kiss babies and get some things done. So for me, I'm all about the old school. It's all about relationship building, and it's all about the golden rule. Treat other people how you want to be treated. When I meet people, the first question I ask is, what's a good referral for you? Not what do I do? This is me. What's a good referral for you? What's your business? How do you make money? Who can I introduce to you? Okay, cool, awesome. Then after a few minutes of that, people were like, man, this guy Frank's pretty fucking cool. So I don't know if we can cuss on your show. I just did.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, this guy Frank's pretty freaking cool. So let me find out more about him. Let me see who his like, and what's a good referral for you, Frank? And now we start having that process, whether we work together or not, we can still grow collectively. And the best part about having that old school value is that because you're old school, people know you're not with that new school bullshit, man. You're not going to go on Twitter and be like, oh my God, I was on the HackCess Show and they asked me all these questions. I'm not going to do that, man.
And so like you've been in the business for like 15 years now. So did you had to change something at one point? Like at the beginning you were doing something, maybe it wasn't working, and then you changed something, you had a shift somewhere, and then it worked, you know?
Yeah, so my very first business, and I come from a very humble background. I was born homeless. I'm Mexican-American, first generation. I lived in Mexico for the first 4 years of my life. English is not my first language. You know, I lived on a ranch for the first 4 years of my life with literally like no electricity, no running water. I don't remember this, but you know, but that's what was happening. And when I came to America, like I don't have any family that's like billionaires or millionaires. Like I had no frame of reference. I had to figure all this stuff out through books and learning. And so at the age of 20, I dropped out of college in my senior year to go start my first business. It was in the beauty business. And for the first, and during this time, I was selling cell phones in the mall. So if you guys were at the mall, I would be like, say, boss, hey, what kind of phone you got? And I would run to you, dog. And I'd be like, hey, oh, you got the iPhone 6? Dude, bro, we got the iPhone 12s, man. You can't be taking your shorty on the iPhone 6, man. And so I would get you to switch into a new device. And I was really good at that. And I would be able to earn a lot of money, but have low expenses. Because I was a college kid and I was like living with 3 other dudes. We had a house. It was my overhead was like $500 a month, maybe $600 a month. And I was making, 6 figures as an 18 and 19-year-old. And so I took all that money and I saved it up and I got into my first business in the beauty business. And I lost money 8 months for every single month. I lost about $2,500 to $5,000 a month that I didn't have to borrow from like my mom or my dad. Like this was like my money that I busted my ass off for, chasing people down in the mall saying, yo, what kind of cell phone you got? I was doing that. And so at month 6, things started getting real tight and I could only afford to eat once a day. Yeah, man, it was real tough. And then about, a couple weeks later, I was like, yo, I can only eat once every other day. And I would eat a Wendy's double cheeseburger because it had the most nutrition available for the dollar, for the price. And that was my life, man. And so on my 8th month, everybody, man, imagine like living your dreams or pursuing your dreams and then having everybody in your life saying, yo, you can't do this. Yo, you need to quit. Yo, you tried, good effort. Oh my God, you stuck it out, but you need to get a job. You can't be doing this. We hate to see you struggle. We should do this. You should do that. And man, it was getting to me, dude. But the last person that quit on me during this time was my mom. And I was like, damn. And so my mom was like, yeah, she was doubting me. And I was like, yo, mom, I'm gonna remodel your house. The floors that the carpet that's underneath your feet is gonna turn into wood floors. Bet. I promise you. And so I was just like, all right. So I go home and I was like, man, I've been talking all this shit to my mom, being like, yo, how am I going to back it up? How am I going to back this up? And so I took my last $1,000, I got on my knees, I said a prayer, and I sent 500 to Facebook and I sent 500 Google ads in 2008 when cost per clicks were like fractions of a penny, dude, literally fractions of a penny. If you knew what you were doing back then.
Yeah.
And this was March 2009. In March of 2009, I made $50,000 in 1 month. And I was like, off of $1,000 investment to Google ads and Facebook ads. And I was like, holy shit. Then I was like, this is a fluke. And then it happened again. And I was like, oh, this is a fluke. And then it happened again and again and again. And it kept happening. And I was like, holy shit. Like there's something to this advertising thing. And even more so, I'm actually good at this. I know what to say to get people to click and sign up. And like, I'm good at this. And then other people started to notice that I was good at this, started hitting me up. They're like, hey, Frank, can you show me how to do this? I was like, yeah, you know how to do that? It's pretty freaking easy. They're like, well, not to me. I'll pay you for it. I was like, well, you're going to pay me? Like you could go learn this on a blog. You could like watch YouTube. You could try it out. He's like, yeah, I don't got time for that. Like, here's $100. And I felt so guilty, because like, who am I to charge my knowledge? Like I didn't feel like I was worthy. I had that imposter syndrome that a lot of people might have when they're first getting started. But then this guy, man, he sat me down, and after I taught him everything, he was like, Frank, you shouldn't be feeling bad for this. I literally just got a world-class education for $100. You should be charging me 10 grand for this shit. And this was like a guy who was wealthy, and I'm like, damn, he's right. And he was showing me his books of the consultants that he paid for. He didn't have to do that. He could have been, taking advantage of me, $100 here, $100 there. But I started charging him accordingly, and he was very happy to pay because he had money. He had problems to solve. And I realized that people with problems sometimes have money and they will pay you to solve their problems because they ain't trying to deal with it.
Yeah. That's so inspirational. Thank you for that anecdote. And can I ask you, when you're in those times, in those so you could only eat every other day. What about those non-Wendy days? How do you stay motivated? How do you like stay in that headspace that tells you, even when other people don't motivate you, that you can motivate yourself? How do you do that? Is that meditation? Is that anything else?
It's just strong mental fortitude and strong mental toughness. I every day when I woke up, I had a routine, and this is gonna date me. So I would listen to a song on repeat from T.I. and Rihanna called Live Your Life. It's like, you're gonna be a shining star, fancy clothes, fancy cars. And it's just like, and I would have that shit on repeat because I would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I wouldn't be done till like midnight. And this was me, you know, I had a part-time job. I actually had 2 part-time jobs. I was selling gym memberships at LA Fitness for a grand opening for a gym that wasn't there. It was like a little 6-week gig where I was trying to get in there. Dude, I sold timeshares for a bit. When I hate saying that, but I did, and I was good at it, and I made a lot of money doing it. And I was like, man, I didn't feel good about this. That's when I learned about integrity in business. And I was like, oh, like y'all could find better deals on Google or internet. Like y'all don't really got to pay this outlandish fee. But it was 2008, and nobody knew about that kind of stuff. So there was some value there, but I just felt bad about that. But to answer your question, I gave myself a mental program, and my mental program was this: I am an entrepreneurial special force unit. And you can put me in any country, in any language, any society, capitalist, socialist, dictator, democracy, whatever it is, and I'm going to come out on top. And I literally would say that 100 times a day, every day, until I started believing it. So when other people start doubting you, from my core, from within, I was like, thanks for the feedback. But y'all don't know me. Y'all don't see me waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning knowing that I'm not going to eat until fucking 36 hours later.
Yeah.
Y'all don't see that shit.
And so sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, man, I learned that, you don't need food. You could go a few days without food.
Yeah.
And then I started really thinking about, like, what are necessities? Like, what do I need? And I started really valuing my money, because like I would have to spend money to buy my product for my beauty business, but also like maybe live or pay for gas to get around and that kind of stuff. When I was in real estate, I over leveraged myself in a great way. I hired a bunch of employees, and for a year, I was making 6 figures when this happened. But in real estate, you get paid when the deal closes, and sometimes the deal don't close on time. Sometimes, oh, it's going to close on the 1st. Oh, well, there was a dead rat in the attic, and now we got to disinfect it. It's going to take another 2 weeks. And I'm like, but I don't have any money. Sorry, buddy. You got to figure it out. So in times like that, and for that year, because I started hiring more people that I could afford cash flow wise, man, I would sell my plasma 2 times a week. I literally have the scars right in here 2 times a week. That's how I would eat on a day-to-day basis. That's how I would get around on a day-to-day basis. And I remember, and I would show up there in a freaking suit, you know, and like I was making 6 figures. I just didn't have cash flow. Things just got tough. And I was teaching myself real estate development. I bought a book from Harvard, or the book from Harvard that they teach real estate development. I can't afford Harvard, and I don't want to go to Harvard, but I want to learn what they learn. And pretty smart guy, figure shit out myself. So I started reading this book. And so here's this guy, Mr. 6 Figures, riding a bus to go to the plasma donation place with this book, and he's going to teach himself how to do real estate. So everybody there was talking mess about me. Like everybody was like, oh, here comes Donald Trump, here comes Latino Trump, blah, 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 reading his real estate development book. And one day I was just like, yeah, man, Latino Trump, that sounds really good, actually. Hell yeah. And so before you donate your plasma, they make you prick your blood. And they give you a Band-Aid and a little cotton thing to put over it. But before they did that, I said, hey, actually, I need my blood. They're like, how about you need your blood? I said, just give me 30 seconds. I need my blood. They're like, holy crap. And I took out my real estate development book, and on the inside cover, I signed it in blood. There was a letter to myself that says, basically, I'm going to have $70 billion, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it. And when I did this, everybody was laughing their butts off. And it's kind of funny, you know, like this guy in a suit, making 6 figures, selling his blood so he can eat. He just wrote himself a letter and signed it in blood. And he's about to go sit the next 2 hours in here, squeezing his little hand with a needle in his arm to eat. That's how he's going to eat this week.
Yeah.
And it was, and that was, those experiences taught me a lot, because it just taught me I could do anything, man. It taught me, like, if I wanted it bad, that's when I get really upset, when I hear a lot of kids and a lot of like people, I want to be an entrepreneur. I was like, no, you don't. Look at your phone, dog. Look at your watch. Look at your shoes. I know where your money's going. That $300 Gucci belt, if you knew how to market, is probably about 95 clicks if you're getting your clicks for about $2.75. That's how I see it. And those 95 clicks are going to turn into maybe 10 clients. If you have the right position, if you get the right product, maybe you're selling stuff at $1,000. There's $10,000 right there. But you trying to shine on a $300 Gucci belt. Good luck, player.
Yeah. And like, how do you set your goals and your vision and all that? Like, because you had this big vision, and you were like, yeah, you were Latino Trump taking the bus. So like, is it hard to have a big vision when you're if like a guy that has $1 million and is like, all right, I want to have 5 million, and that's not going to be as hard as like wanting to be a billionaire from scratch, So how do you set your goals? How do you set your vision? Like, how do you break it down and all that?
I'm very blessed that I always knew as a kid, this is what I wanted to do. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I lived in inner city Fort Worth, Texas. Shout out Fort Worth, Texas, in the north side. And I lived right by Meacham International Airport. It's the same airport that President John F. Kennedy was flown into before he was shot in Dallas. So it's a private airport, it's very small, and a lot of private jets, even Air Force One, go in there. And so my bedroom would face that. And I'm like, I could see it, and I couldn't sleep at night. And I would just look out the window. And every time I would see that window, I would just visualize, like, who's on that plane? What do they do? How did they get there? And then I made it a rule to visualize my name on that jet every time. And so just like even now, like if I walk around and I see a freaking commercial airliner go through, I make it a point as an exercise to visualize my last name. It's not my name, it's my last name. It's my family name that's on there. So a lot of people get that distinction. Who's this guy think is? It's not the talented Frank Salas. It's a talented Mr. Salas. I do it for my family name, never for me.
That's amazing. Can I ask you, why do you not do that for you? Is that not enough? Like, is it to motivate you so that you're a representative of your family, to have more people with you in a way?
For me, one man is only one man. A family, a bloodline, that's where you can make some stuff happen. And so I've always wanted to build multi-generational wealth. I want my great grandkids to never have to worry about stuff. I want my kids. I actually want to have 10 kids myself. I'm nowhere near having that. I'm 33, having a blast. But when I'm ready to settle down after I've had my fun, I definitely want to have an environment for my children to be able to participate and grow wealth and build wealth and make it a family thing. I really feel like, especially in my community, the Latino community, in America, we don't talk about it enough. We don't have enough wealth, and we're underrepresented. The Blacks, the Jews, the Asians, the Indians, everybody gets in and they link up and they have all these traditions. But Mexican people, Latin people, we just work hard. That's our stick for now. And I want to change that.
And so, like, did you have a different vision of success at the beginning? Maybe you were like, all right, I just want money to just spend money, and now you're like focusing on legacy and family and all that. So did that change, or you had the same vision from the get-go?
So I had this very same vision, but only one thing changed since I was a kid. So when I was a kid, I always wanted $7 billion with a B. I always thought that big from like young. I'm talking about 8 years old. Like I knew, okay, 7 billion. Yeah, 7 billion. I could roll 7 billion. And then I read a book from Mr. Grant Cardone called The 10X Rule. And he's like, whatever your goals are, multiply that by 10. And I was like, all right, 7 billion is actually a little low. How about 70 billion? So my number is $70 billion until I get to that number. And then it'll be 700 billion or 700 trillion or 7 trillion, whatever it is. But yeah, that is my goal. I've always been very aware of that. And even being aware of my end goal, it makes it easy to make sense of things. Like I'm 33, and most Fridays you'll catch me like inside of the gym, sleeping early, not at the gym, but at home, or just working on something, or staying up till like 6 a.m, not partying, but like writing a book, writing a game design document for my new video game company, writing a business plan for a freaking space farm. We're doing indoor vertical farming as one of our verticals, stuff like that. And a lot of people are like, oh, you work too hard, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, I don't work hard enough. Do you know I'm trying to get to $70 billion? Like most people are just trying to get a paycheck by the end of the week. Most people are just trying to pay their bills and go on vacation. So when I make these quote unquote sacrifices to other people, to me, they're not sacrifices. Yeah. They're stepping stones. They're milestones on the road to where I'm headed. And when someone hears, man, you sold your blood for twice a week for a year, and you were making 6 figures, what's wrong with you? You had the money. What's going on? We ain't talking the same frequency. We ain't talking the same language. It's easy for me to make that decision. You and your broke ass, or maybe not your broke ass, but your broke ass dreams, maybe your broke ass dreams, that don't make sense to you. It makes total sense why that would be crazy to you. And for me, it makes total sense why that is common sense. So never valuing anybody else's opinion. Literally, I love all my parents. I love all my siblings. I've got 10 siblings of my own. They hold zero value to what I do.
Yeah, I understand. And we spoke about your passion project, the video game. That sounds amazing. And what about so when you're working on something like that, that's something that you love doing, but also it's going to help you achieve your goals. What about things that some people who work hard just want to turn off and work on something that they love, but not necessarily that's going in the direction of their goal? What do you think about that? Do you think that that's something that should be scratched and we should always be working towards our goals? Or is it important to have some downtime that is not productive at all?
I actually think downtime is productive. I think downtime is very productive. I actually, I love to BS. I love to bullshit. Like if I'm by myself and I'm having a tough day, I'll still play the "Don't Step on the Crack" game, and I'll just like start running, jumping around. People are like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" And it's fun to me, So I think it's awesome to have that intentional downtime. But most people, in my opinion, in my experience, when they have downtime, they're not off. They're like, oh, I got to do this thing on Monday, or all that stuff. When I'm off, man, I'm off, dude. I'm just out doing whatever it is that I do, and I'm enjoying myself. So I think that downtime is very, very crucial, but you don't need that much. Like I take a half a day off a week, a half a day off. That's all that I need. I just need a half a day. I just need, 4 or 6 hours, maybe 8 hours. My days are like 16 to 20 hours most days. So like taking 8 hours off is a half day for me. And I'm like, oh man, that was cool. Let's get back to this thing. Or if throughout the day, I love to work out. That's my break. I fortunately have very healthy distractions. I love doing yoga, meditation. I love to read. And so fortunately, like my distractions they're not bad. They're actually really good distractions, but some people aren't like that. And so if you're somebody who maybe doesn't have that self-control, or maybe yourself, don't put yourself in those positions. I know myself. I'm 33. I'm young. If I need to get some work done, I'm not going to the cafe where the cute girls go, because I ain't getting nothing done.
And so, like, we talked about distractions and all that. Do you have the capacity of like shutting off your like entrepreneurial brain when you're like, I don't know, when you do yoga and you're like, oh, maybe I could do like a business around yoga, like a retreat, something like that. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to put business in everything they do. And do you have this capacity of just shutting out your brain and enjoying like the current moment?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. When I'm in yoga, I actually get the best business ideas in yoga, and so for a lot of people, they're like, when you go do meditation, like fight all your thoughts. I don't. I listen to them. I see what comes up. I intentionally meditate, and I'm like, ooh, why is that coming up? Why am I thinking about this person? Why am I thinking about that opportunity? There's something there. And then I know myself, and I work with awesome life coaches. One of my life coaches is Di Manuel, who was on your show, I believe previous to me. And just having great people that inspire me and empower me to ask the right questions and figure out my own stuff and know myself and truly know myself. Because a lot of people are like, oh yeah. They do a lot of ego stuff, but I've got intentional, and I've found different frameworks to be able to find what's the root of the reason. And it's because I surround myself by fantastic, powerful people like Di Manuel, who ask me the right questions. Like Di never tells me anything. He just asks me the right question. And I'm like, damn it, Di, why are you asking me that question? You're right.
Yeah.
You did it again, Di.
Now, we spoke about surrounding yourself with people, and we didn't talk about mentors. Do you have anyone in your life that you would call a mentor, and how can you use the information that they give you, or how can you incorporate that into your vision and adapt to the advice that they give you?
So my mentors are people that I study, and I'll study different aspects of it. I don't have a per se mentor in person. I have a few, like, I have a co-founder that I get inspiration from, and he mentors me in ways, but like we mentor each other also. And like iron sharpens iron. Bottom line, iron sharpens iron. Like if you surround yourself with wood and you bump into them, they're gonna break. If both of y'all are wood, y'all are gonna break. But if both of y'all are iron, like the Bible says, as iron sharpens iron, so does a man sharpen a man, or a woman sharpen a woman, or a human sharpen a human, whatever. So I will say there's been a lot of people that have made a lot of influential decisions and moments on me. The biggest one was when I was 20 years old. My first business, my business was a spray tanning business. We sold airbrush tanning. We didn't have any booths. We didn't have any lights. It was all healthy. It was all organic, and it was high level. It was premier. My neighbor at the time in the retail space was Mrs. Anna Phillips from the Lash Lounge. And she was at 3 locations in 2008. She's at hundreds of locations now, global franchise now. But I was very blessed that when I started my business, she was franchising her business. And I asked her, and she was like 36 months pregnant. I don't know. She was like big, dude. and she made me aware that there are women entrepreneurs that are overachievers that just like handle their business. And that those kind of women, I'd always like, heard about them like here and there, but I never saw one. And I had the pleasure and the benefit of being around her while she was franchising her business. And I had the dumb luck really to just ask her, because I didn't know any better. Hey, can I shadow you for a day? You sure you want to shadow me? I'm busy. I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna ask nothing. I just want to see what you do. Okay, be here at this time tomorrow. All right, cool. So I come through. She's out with her clipboard and she's got all this checklist, and I'm like, man, she's all organized. Like, what? She's kind of OCD. Like, what's up with her? Then I asked her what she was doing. She says, I'm writing down processes for all of my businesses so I can turn this into a franchise. So I don't have to be here to operate this, and I can make money off of new locations and franchisees. Boom. And so I wouldn't necessarily call her a mentor. I would love to call her a mentor, but she's out of my league for sure. But I was very blessed for her to mentor me in that moment. And then I learned from everybody, even from people on the street, people that are homeless, like whatever. I learned from everybody. But if I had to put it into a mentor, I would say books. If, I love reading. And one of my biggest, one of my favorite sayings rather is the biggest secrets in the world are hidden inside the pages of books.
Yeah.
Then we talked about health also. So like, when did you start changing health? You're like, hopefully you're far away from like the Wendy's and double cheeseburgers and all that. I hope you get these meals every day. But like, and also, do you regret doing that, or do you wish like that health was a bigger part of your journey at the beginning?
Yeah, 100%. I wish that I was more focused on my health. I was an athlete in high school, and I would always work out. I was not a stranger to like the gym or the track or any that kind of stuff. But at 20, like I can't explain it, but I had this burning desire, like in my stomach. Like every day when I woke up, it was like there was something there saying, "Wake up! You're not where you want to be. You gotta go." And it wouldn't stop, and it wouldn't stop. And so sometimes I wouldn't stop to eat. Sometimes I didn't have the money to eat. And so for me, I wish that I would have like having a fitness routine like I do now would keep me more focused. It'll help me deal with the stress of a business. I know that in my early 20s, when I dissolved my beauty business, I went through my first depression like in life, and I was like, holy shit. And exercise would have helped me manage that. And it was something that I was dealing with, and I wish I would have got into it. But if I had to go back and say, oh, I wish that I didn't, eat once a day. No, man, I actually love that. Matter of fact, I might go back to eating once a day just to remind me of what shit could be like. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel, I feel like when you're hungry, when you're really hungry, that's when you do the things that someone who's a little comfy ain't gonna do.
Yeah. That's where like the real hustle comes in, It's like you get hunger, and you get hunger for business and hunger for more. Definitely. Yeah. All right, Frank, it's promo time for you now. So like whatever you got going on, it's your time to shine.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, hey guys, thanks a lot for joining me here on the HackCess Show. My name's Frank Salas. I go by the name, the talented Mr. Salas, and I wrote a book for you, a visionary entrepreneur. Every one of you is a visionary entrepreneur. If you've ever had an idea in the shower, while you're driving, while watching somebody else's business go up, if you ever feel like you could do that, you can. There is a reason that you're getting those ideas. Those ideas don't come to everybody. If you're watching this show, the HackCess Show, I know that you're not trying to be average. I know you're not trying to be above average. You're trying to be successful. And so the only way to be successful, truly successful, is if you have people around you. So I wrote a book called The 400-Hour Work Week. And that is a framework about how I work with people from all over the world to help them, to help me build my dreams. So it's very simple. The 400-Hour Work Week works like this. If I want to do something, I hire 10 people to do that thing for me 40 hours a week, and they work 400 hours a week. I live my life because I am a business owner. I'm not a solopreneur. I'm not a self-employed person. I'm a business owner. And so you can find more information about this book, The 400-Hour Workweek, over at www.400hourworkweek.com.